know you gotta do that. What's up?
Got your Wi-Fi on, man.
Got your Wi-Fi on.
Oh, we got twin.
Yo, come on, you know how we come from.
I ain't even playing
Hey, they got me mic'd up though.
Hey, we ain't even playing that.
Come on, man. Y'all know what time it is.
Connection, man. Yeah.
Hey, get out there today.
I know it's love. I
You
like what you
my
got
hand,
in your hands, though. I like that.
Yo.
I feel that. Hey, but just know
I'm mic'd up now.
It's gonna get a little personal.
It's personal.
Son,
you know what it is.
That's exactly what's happening in Cleveland right now. The Browns have just made a quarterback move that nobody saw coming, and it's got the entire league talking. Shedeur Sanders, who was barely on anyone's radar just weeks ago, is suddenly the Browns' starting quarterback for their preseason opener. This isn't just a story about football, it's about seizing the moment when the odds are stacked against you. Before we get into all the details, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss any of these exclusive updates, because what's happening with Shedeur Sanders and the Browns could change the NFL landscape. The unexpected RIS. Let's rewind for a second. Not long ago, Shedeur Sanders was buried on the Browns' depth chart. He wasn't even getting second-team reps. He was fourth string, barely seeing the field, and not even practicing with the backup squad. Most fans assumed he'd be ready for the preseason, or maybe even quietly released before the real game started. The online chatter was growing. Some people thought the Browns were just using his name for attention. Others believed he was being set up to fail, thrown into a crowded quarterback room with no real shot to compete. With experienced players like Kenny Pickett and Tyler Huntley ahead of him, it looked like Shedeur's NFL dream might be over before it even began. But then, everything changed in an instant. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski stepped up to the microphone and made a statement that nobody expected: we'll play Shedeur at quarterback. No conditions, no just for a few snaps. Shedeur Sanders was officially named the starting quarterback for the Browns. Preseason opener, a game that would be broadcast to the entire country. Suddenly, the spotlight was on him, and the stakes couldn't be higher. A reunion that got everyone tell Keonja before the action even started. There was a moment that had fans buzzing. Cameras caught Shedeur Sanders reconnecting with his former Colorado teammate, Jimmy Horn Jr., right before practice. The media wasn't allowed to film the drills, but they captured this exchange loud and clear. The energy was electrical, friends sharing jokes, big smiles. And then Shedeur dropped a line that meant everything to Colorado fans. It's personal. If you know, you know. That phrase was the heartbeat of Coach Prime's Colorado team. Hearing it again between these two former Buffs brought back memories and fired up the fan base. But this wasn't just a friendly catch-up. Jimmy Horn Jr. now plays for the Panthers. And when the game starts, these two won't be teammates. They'll be rivals, each with something to prove. Coach Stefanski made it official. Only two quarterbacks would play in the Browns' preseason opener: Shedeur Sanders, who would start, and Tyler Huntley, who had just joined the team. For fans, this wasn't just another preseason game. It was a chance to see if the connection between Sanders and Horn would hold up under NFL pressure, or if it would turn into a fierce competition. The announcement was bold, but now it was real. Shedeur Sanders was about to start for the Browns, and everyone wanted to see how he'd handle the moment. But the situation was far from perfect. Earlier in camp, Shedeur had dealt with arm soreness, raising questions about whether he was truly ready. Coach Stefanski, though, was clear. We're past that. No excuses, no limitations. Shedeur's got the green light. But there was another challenge. Key playmakers like Jeudy and Tillman wouldn't be suiting up. The Browns were resting several starters, which meant Shedeur would be working with a limited supporting cast on a national stage. To make things even more difficult, the Browns restricted media access during joint practices with the Panthers. There were no real highlights, no detailed reports, just rumors, tweets, and a few secondhand stories. It was the kind of environment where a quarterback could either quietly fade away or shock everyone with a breakout performance. That's the situation Shedeur Sanders found himself in. He was being given the keys to the offense, but not all the tools. Was this a real opportunity, or a setup designed to make him fail? Either way, the pressure was on, and fans were desperate for answers. The practice, performing in the DAR KFU, were hoping for highlight reels of Shedeur dominating in practice. You were out of luck. Media coverage during the Browns-Panthers joint practice was extremely limited. Reporters could only film individual drills and one-on-ones, and even then, barely anything made it out. For fans, it was radio silence. For Shedeur, it meant he had to perform without the spotlight still. A few details slipped through. Shedeur got some reps during 7-on-7s, completing 2 out of 3 passes. Both completions went to a receiver named Floria, name most fans had never heard before this camp. Meanwhile, other quarterbacks, like Kenny Pickett and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, got more reps overall. Then, in the next round of drills, Shedeur didn't even get on the field. No second chances, no extra opportunities, just a brief window to show what he could do. And, if things weren't tough enough, rain started to fall, making the ball slippery, and the timing even harder to nail down. Not exactly the best conditions for a young quarterback trying to prove he belongs in the NFL, making others BETTR. But here's where things got interesting. Even with limited reps and unfamiliar receivers, Shedeur's throws stood out. Some insiders said he made the players around him look better than they actually are. Sometimes, greatness isn't about flashy about doing the little things right. And that's exactly what Shedeur did during his limited snaps. He wasn't throwing to star receivers. He wasn't working with the first-team offense. But the guys around him, players like Floria and Gage, looked sharper, faster, and more dangerous. One reporter even admitted, "I didn't even know who Gage was until Shedeur started throwing to him." That's the mark of a smart quarterback, someone who can elevate the talent around him. Shedeur wasn't just hitting his targets, he was running the offense with rhythm, dropping passes into tight windows, and getting guys like Canela involved on short routes. He brought order to chaos, and that's something coaches and scouts always notice in a league where depth matters. A quarterback who can make third stringers look like starters is a valuable asset. And let's not forget, the conditions were far from perfect. It was raining, the timing was off, and the reps were limited. But Shedeur still found a way to stand out, just by doing the basics right. Now the stakes are even higher. This isn't just another preseason game. The Browns versus Panthers matchup will be broadcast nationwide on NFL Network, and Shedeur Sanders will be front and center, wearing number 12, with the entire football world watching. For most rookies, it's just a chance to get some experience. But for Shedeur, this is an auditioner chance to prove he belongs in the NFL, not just on the Browns roster. While the Browns are keeping things quiet behind closed doors, the rest of the league is paying close attention. Scouts from 31 other teams will be watching. If Shedeur puts up good numbers, moves the offense, and shows poise, under pressure, people will notice. This isn't just about making the team. It's about showing he can be a real option at quarterback, not just for the Browns, but for any team in the league. If he delivers, Cleveland won't be able to keep him a secret for long. Is this a setup or a test? But not everyone is convinced the Browns want Shedeur to succeed. Some fans are excited to see him start, but others are suspicious. There's a theory going around online. Maybe the Browns are setting him up to fail. Think about it. He's starting the game, but key receivers like Jeudy and Tillman are sitting out. He's had limited practice reps, he's throwing to unfamiliar receivers, and the media isn't allowed to see much. It almost feels like he's being put in a tough spot on purpose, given the spotlight, but not the support. Some fans think it's all about optics. Let him struggle now, so the team can justify keeping him on the bench later. But others see it differently. They see a chance for Shedeur to prove himself when everything is stacked against him. Because if he can shine under these conditions, nobody will be able to question his talent or his toughness. From afterthought to QB1, let's not forget where this all started. At the beginning of training camp, Shedeur Sanders was the 4th quarterback on the depth chart. He wasn't getting any attention, no real reps, just a name with potential buried behind more experienced players. Fast forward to now, and he's the starting quarterback for the Browns' preseason opener, live on national TV. This isn't just a promotion, it's a statement. It's a moment that could change everything for Shedeur. Sanders, if he plays well, if he throws touchdowns, leads the offense, and stays calm under pressure, the conversation about him will change overnight. He won't just be Coach Prime's son or a developmental project. Candidate for an NFL starting job, and if the Browns don't want him, you can bet another team will. In the NFL, talent never stays hidden for long. When a player shows up on tape in front of millions, opportunities come fast. Whether this game makes or breaks his future, one thing is certain: Shedeur Sanders is no longer in the shadows. What started as a surprise is now a turning point. Everything on the line of Shedeur Sanders was never supposed to get this chance, not this early, not under these circumstances. But here he is, under the bright lights, with the weight of expectations and the eyes of the league on him. There are no guarantees, no safety nets, just one nationally televised game and a massive opportunity. If he struggles, critics will say they were right all along. But if he rises to the occasion, if he turns adversity into a statement, this game could change everything. For the Browns, for the league, and for a quarterback who was never supposed to be the guy, but just might be. Is this the start of something special? So here's the question everyone's asking. Is this just a one-time shot? Or is it the beginning of Shedeur Sanders' NFL story? The answer is coming soon. On Friday night, under the lights, with the whole football world watching, Shedeur Sanders will get his chance. Whether he sinks or swims, this is the kind of moment that defines a career, so get ready. What's happening in Cleveland isn't just about football. It's about proving doubters wrong, grabbing your shot, and showing the world that sometimes the underdog writes the best story of all. If you're excited to see how this unfolds, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our post-game analysis. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will Shedeur Sanders rise to the challenge, or is this just a setup? Either way, history is about to be made, and you'll want to be here for every moment. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning.